Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Get your cups ready.
Hi, Radek, and hi, Petra.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
So good to be here. We have already 30 people. We are maybe giving 1 minute for the others to join us from the other rooms and come here for the coffee tasting. They don't want to miss this one. I will take this opportunity while we wait to remember everyone. This is the best moment to become famous on Twitter. So take a picture of the coffee that you're making and tag DevConf.cz, and we will give a lot of likes, I suppose, to all the pictures. Like this is, you cannot do this, man. You have to know, Petra, that we actually have a mini contest internally because there are actually branded cups, very rare cups for DevConf that are going around. People are very, very, proud of those, of course. So for everyone, not only welcome, today we have Petra with us from Doubleshot. Petra, how is your day, first of all? How are you? What are you going to
I'm really fine, thank you.
That's awesome. What are we going to do together today?
So, as requested by you guys, we are going to brew AeroPress, and I hope we will manage to make 2 recipes. So for all of you who are going to brew coffee with me, maybe just put a kettle on. Then by the time we brew, your water is ready, hot and ready. And we will brew this coffee, Shumava. So I would like to talk a little bit about the coffee first. Then I will introduce you the AeroPress, what it actually is, and then we will do some brewing. So this coffee, Shumava, is a Costa Rican coffee, and it's a very interesting story about this farm. So first, you find it about 1 hour away from the capital of Costa Rica, which is San Jose. And it's in the mountains or in the region called Lourdes de Naranjo. So the full name is Finca Shumava de Lourdes. And the owners there are 2 owners. It's Francisco Mena, who is green coffee exporter and a Czech investor, hence the Czech name. So Shumava is a name for Czech mountains in the south of Czech Republic. This farm is very famous for being very modern and innovative. So they have the know-how, so they know how to farm properly. They're very eco-friendly. So they also trying to use again all the waste they produce, and also they've got modern technologies, and they have access to a bank of different varieties, so they can experiment with growing different varieties on their farms. So they are famous for that. So that's about the farm.
It is wonderful, to be honest, that you have this full traceability of the coffee, because I think it's one of the big topics nowadays, or especially for specialty coffee, that you know all of this background, you know who's harvesting the coffee, what qualities they're using. This is really, really cool. And this is the one that you chose today because
we worked with this farm for several years. We know them very well, and they won several competitions with their coffees, and we've got a relationship with them. So we fly there every year. We talk with them. They come over here sometimes, and we love the coffee. We have it throughout the year, so it's one of our best sellers and one of our favorites. That's why.
Radek, I think we are in the wrong business, my friend. We need to jump into coffee.
You should.
I'm actually still stuck with the name of it. Like, why Shumava, right? What is the Czech thing that actually is added there? Is that because of the taste? Is that because of the color?
No, it's because of the person behind it, who's Czech investor. Yeah, I like it because this person, he actually got through coffee with us. So we brewed some coffee for him, and he got so interested in specialty coffee. And then we connected them, Francisco Mena and him. And I don't remember the name, but he used to work in a car industry. So he just got excited about coffee, and he started supporting this this finca, this farm. And they worked together since. So it's been about 10, 11 years. So
Damiana, we can still switch anytime, right? From IT to coffee.
This sounds so good. And so
it's never too late for specialty coffee. I can
brilliant.
Tell you.
And you said we have 2 recipes, not just one, but 2 recipes for the AeroPress today.
Yes, I would like to manage to brew 2 recipes. And the reason is, so let me introduce you the AeroPress. So it's very popular because it's very versatile. So you can do so many things with AeroPress. You can also, maybe you know that AeroPress has its own championship, which means that you can, so other brewing methods, they are put in one competition, but AeroPress has its own competition because you can make so many recipes. You can change all the brew variables. So you can play with amount of the water, amount of the ground coffee, with the temperature, even with the water, how soft or hard the water is, how long you brew it for. And what is amazing about this, it combines 3 brewing methods. That was the reason they came with this one. So you can brew it as a pour over. So you put the coffee at the bottom and then you pour the water over it and let it drip, and then you press it. Or you can let it steep when you put the other chamber on the top. You can let it steep like French press and then press it. And by the pressing, it should be like espresso. So it gives you that intensity and a bit of heaviness like espresso. So it's 3 different brewing methods. That's why it's so genius, and that's why you can play around it with so much.
And
so,
which one of these 3 are we gonna look at today?
Sort of all of them.
Wow.
So the first recipe I would like to do is, I don't know if you know who James Hoffman is, but he's a English coffee guru. So he's been in coffee industry for so very long, and he's famous for his videos on YouTube. So maybe Google him later, James Hoffman. And I'm gonna make his recipe because it's simple and everybody can make it. And it will be the dripping method. So let's do it. Let's put the paper filter inside the lid, screw it on, and put it on a cup. Turn on your scale. Let me just get my water. So I've got 11 grams of quite finely ground coffee. So it's somewhere between coffee ground for filter and espresso. So it's finer than usually we would use for AeroPress. And I've got 11 grams of coffee for 200 ml of water. So I'll put it in.
Okay.
That's 11 grams of coffee. And then I'll pour the water straight in. You can use any kettle you've got at home, even a pot.
Well, some people like to, there is a bit of a fetish for the gooseneck kettles, right?
Yes, I know, because you have control.
In the drip coffee community, right?
Yeah, you have control over the pour, especially for pour overs. It's very important. But the AeroPress is so perfect because you can go camping and you can just pour water from your pot. It depends on the way, or it depends what way or what method you do. But with AeroPress, you can just pour out water from whatever you find at home.
Nice and easy. Nice and easy.
Nice and easy, exactly. So I'll pour 200 ml of water in.
Is it boiling hot, or
200.
do you actually care about the temperature as well?
I'll tell you that, yeah. So, and I put the top chamber inside, then it drips very slowly, and put it on side because I don't want to damage my scale while I'm pressing it down. The temperature is really important, but it depends on what level of roast you've got at home. So if you like dark roasty coffee, I would decrease the temperature. So I would go below 90. Right. If you have medium roasted coffee, I would go 90, 95. But if you've got really light roast, don't be afraid and go nearly boiling, but no boiling.
Right. For this particular coffee, what temperature did you choose? What
95.
Is the 95. So we are kind of on the upper bracket.
I'm sorry.
We're in the upper bracket of temperature, so it's kind of a medium dark roast.
Ours is medium to light, to be honest. Medium light.
Sorry,
so I would go minimum 95. I've got 95, 96, yeah.
Okie dokie.
So now we let it steep for 2 minutes. So this is the French press part of it. So first we did the dripping. So I'll pour water over it, let it drip for a bit. And now it's steeping while it's dripping, and then I press it.
Brilliant. Somebody in the chat was actually mentioning, you know, the paper filter that you put, there is also a metal version, right,
yes,
of that, like a mesh filter. Do you particularly have a preference between paper and metal filters?
I tried the metal ones. For people who are not baristas or coffee professionals, it's not such a big difference, right. I guess. But for me, I like paper filter more. because it can catch more of the coffee oils, and also it's less dusty. So if you have a metal filters that have got really tiny holes, that's okay. But that's why I'm not a huge fan of French press, me personally, because it's quite heavy and muddy, because the metal filter cannot catch all the coffee oils and the dust that you get from grinding it.
So it kind of comes across in the final cup, right?
Yeah, but yes, in the taste. Right. It is different taste. So also what is really important is the thickness of the filter. So the next recipe I'm going to make, I will use two filters to make it a bit thicker, like Chemex filters, because it gives you more intense flavor.
That is pretty good.
Yeah. So now I'm going to stir it gently. It's 2 minutes now, because I want all the coffee to come off the sides of the AeroPress of the chamber, and now I press it. Just make sure that you've got the rubber part inside, then it doesn't squirt all over you.
Does this count as a workout, right? If I do this during the day, it's my full workout done, right? I don't need to go to the gym anymore.
Depends how strong you are.
I have also another very important question. And Radek, what do you think? Why is boiling water called fresh boiling water? Right?
Because you want all the minerals that are in the water to be activated. So,
but isn't it hot? So how can it be fresh if it's hot?
Fresh means that you don't want overboiled so many times overboiled water. You want water that you just use from tap.
That's why I asked about temperature, because I know it's like right below boiling, right? Yeah.
You're so good. You took a joke and made a real lesson out of it. I love that. I love that.
All right. So now when we hear the hissing sound, that means that the air is coming out. So we don't need to press anymore. Just be careful that you don't drip any hot coffee all over it and everywhere. So now, when it comes to tasting, I don't like drinking coffee hot, because you cannot taste much. Our tongue can taste flavors at certain temperature. It's around 60 degrees. Okay. So to get the most out of it, you cool it down or you stir it. And it's the best to drink coffee at 60 temperature for me. And then at different temperatures, different flavors come out. So now if I drink it now, it's too hot and a little bit bitter, and I cannot taste much. But if I leave it for a little bit and I come back to it in 2-3 minutes, it will be so much sweeter, so much fruitier.
Nice. Petra, in chat, Vipul was asking if you have a specific recommendation for the paper filter. Do you like the original AeroPress one? Do you have a brand that you would recommend?
I usually use this one. That comes with the AeroPress, and I'm used to it. Okay. I also like the metal one. If it's really like a mesh, the mesh is really tiny. I like that. And then there is another one. I think it's called, I don't remember the name. I think it's Aeroseer. It's a Canadian company, and they make the filters really thick and porous.
Oh, right. Okay.
You can play with it as well. I had never tried that one. I would love to. But the paper filters are okay, I guess. I'm happy with them, yeah.
Excellent. Maybe somebody in the chat tried different brands. Maybe, let us know. Let us know if somebody did this.
Would you like to start
this? Would you like to start the second recipe as we wait for this to cool?
Let's go for it. So I'm going to get a new mug. I leave this to cool down. So for this one, it's a bit different. It will be the inverted method. It means that we will turn it upside down. So we will use 30 grams of coffee. So let's put these two chambers together.
Excellent.
Put it on a scale.
Don't hurt yourself, Damiano.
This coffee, because we use so much of coffee and the brewing will be also very fast and intense, I use 30 grams for 100 ml of water to brew, and then we will dilute it. It's a new thing with AeroPresses to make intense brew and then dilute it. When I heard it for the first time, I don't believe it. Like diluting my AeroPress, diluting filter coffee, no. But now I'm quite a huge fan of it. So I've got quite coarsely ground coffee, almost coarser than French press. So it's quite coarse.
Right.
It's like when you grind salt in your mill and it's quite coarse, that type of
Right.
grind size. So let's put all the 30 grams inside, carefully. With this one, it's a recipe of international champion. She's a Dutch girl. Her name is Wendelin von Bunik. And she recommends to use 92-degree temperature water.
And the reason why we're grinding coarser is because we are going to steep a bit longer to increase the extraction, or?
No, because we use so much coffee.
Okay.
So we don't want to over-extract it. We don't want any bitter brew. But because it's so much of coffee, because we will dilute it, so we want heavy body. And you can get heavier body if you use more coffee. But
Perfect.
Because we don't want to over-extract it, because we've got so much coffee, we need to go coarser.
Perfect. This makes a lot of sense.
So let's pour it in. And we also will stir it a lot. So we will make the extraction fast. So although it's coarse, with the agitation, with stirring it, we extract more. So even if it's coarse, we will still manage to get a decent extraction.
Quite good. Perfect.
Does it make sense? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's do this. So it's 100 ml of water inside. And now comes the hard work again. Let's stir it.
This counts as a workout. Everybody at home, this counts like a full workout.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 times vigorously.
20 times. Good.
Now
double paper filter, right? In this case, you said.
Yes. You put it off the scale. We are timing it, so this must take 40 seconds. I'm pressing it a little bit down just to get all the air out. Prepare your mug. It's 40 seconds now. Turn it upside down and press it.
Ooh.
It's a bit harder because you've got so much coffee, and the liquid you will get inside will be quite oily because it's very, very intense extraction. And it's hard. Now it's the workout time.
Yes, that's perfect. Radek, what is your favorite type of coffee, actually? You said that you like when people do coffee for you. Which one do you normally ask for?
Like the beans or the method?
Well, for Radek, I guess it's more the method. What kind of coffee do you enjoy, Radek?
I like origami. I don't know if you know that one. That's what I make at home. Origami is a pour over. It gives you super clean cup. I like clean coffee, But if I'm at my grandmother's, I love myself some French press, so.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, but I like pour overs the most, I guess. And my most favorite used to be Chemex, because it's a very tricky thing. I even have it on my arm, because if you don't brew Chemex right, you spend 7 minutes brewing it, and if you don't do it right, if you make one little mistake, you ruin it.
You waste.
So I like that it's so tricky. Yeah.
Wow.
And now I will dilute it with 120 ml of water. So straight in.
So basically, you have very concentrated coffee in the cup, and you dilute it now with boiling water too.
Exactly. Now we can stir it just to cool it down. Also, Wendelin, who is behind this recipe, she says you should drink it at 60 degrees. So if you got a thermometer at home, or put it on side and, have a breakfast and come back to it. So now we've got 2 brews. Let's taste it. Enjoy. Cheers.
Cheers. It's not the same coffee, but who cares?
Still hot. But out of these 2 recipes, I think I like the more intense one a little bit better.
Can you tell us a bit what do you smell, what do you taste from these 2 different cups, and what is the difference between the 2 for your palate?
Yes. So because it's washed coffee, I don't know if you know anything about the processing of coffees. So you've got natural process and washed process. So that means that when they pick the cherries, they remove the pulp, the flesh, and the seeds like this, still with the silver skin. They chuck them, soak them in water tanks for up to 3 days. And such beans, the fermentation takes takes off all the flesh and remaining skin and such beans. Then you spread on patios and let it dry, or in big dryers. Such coffee is super clean. It's very fruity and light, and I like that. Unlike naturally processed coffee. Naturally processed coffees are so much heavier, almost funky tasting coffees. This is the washed one. So it's very clean and fruity, delicate. And the flavor notes are, I like this coffee because it's very drinkable. It's a crowd pleaser. It has the acidity, pleasant acidity of red apple, like dried red apple.
Okay.
Sweetness of molasses, like heavy sugary sweetness of molasses. And in the finish, you can taste nougat, like really thick chocolate nougat. With these two methods, the first one we make,
I wanted to ask Radek, by the way, you have to ask the question yourself. I want to see how Petra reacts to this.
I was just saying in the chat that I'm waiting when we will start putting milk in the coffee, because I'm the person who loves steamed milk. But
I can't hear. Could you repeat that, please, again?
Steamed milk in coffee. Damiano asked me about my favorite type of coffee.
And losing the connection a little bit here.
I'm waiting for the milk to come.
Oh, there's no milk, I'm afraid. I do understand some people like milk, but for me, putting milk in a filter coffee is like adding an apple juice in a good wine. Why would you do that if you have a good product? So if you have a specialty coffee, which is good quality coffee, there's a lot of sugar inside already. There's a lot of fruitiness inside already. So I wouldn't spoil it with milk. But I understand some people like it, but I would never do that. And it's already very creamy. AeroPress, because of the pressing, it gives you quite heavy-bodied coffee and quite creamy and funky. So I wouldn't do it. This one, in particular, is quite creamy, very nougat-like. This one, the second one we made, is much fruitier and intense. It's almost like when you have Americano and you dilute it, the fruitiness comes through so much. So the first one is a bit lighter. That's my morning coffee, creamy, nougat-like. This one is more intense, like it's like almost like syrupy, and it's thanks to the thick paper filter,
right?
And also because of the huge amount of coffee we use, and it's the red apple acidity comes through very much. It's very intense. I like this one a little bit more, I guess. I used to like this one, but now I'm a fan of this one.
So you would never use the AeroPress, for example, to do a milk-based drink? Oh
no. I would I think that with espresso you used milk just to give it some, vanilla and creamy notes and make it easier for yourself to drink. And espresso with milk I would have in the afternoon when I feel like cake. But filter coffee, filter coffee for me is like tea in the morning. If it's a specialty coffee and it's full of flavors, it's just really nice, and I wouldn't ruin it.
That makes sense.
That is actually pretty good, because I have to say, one of the things that I actually love about James Hoffman that you mentioned before is that a lot of his videos, he has a lot of tricks on how to troubleshoot coffee. Because let's be honest, we can buy really excellent coffee, but it takes a little bit before you find the recipe, right? And the thing you were saying with adding a bit of water to the second one is actually a trick that sometimes, if I remember correctly, it's used to counterbalance potentially over acidic coffee a little bit. So if you want to kind of bring it back into, or if it's a bit too sour sometimes. Do you find that this is something that works in your experience, or do you have maybe some tips for people at home that are doing, trying this out?
It depends. Are we talking about espresso or filter?
I think now we are in the AeroPress filter coffee space.
Yeah. It depends on the recipe. So at home, when I make my origami, I don't dilute it because I don't need to. I use 55 grams per liter. So it's usually 15 grams per mug, 250 mils. I've got medium coarse grind size, so I don't need to dilute it. But if I feel like something syrupy and intense, which I do, especially over the weekends when I cannot wake up. I make strong brew and then dilute it. But most of the time I don't. But why not? It's like with the espresso, when I'm behind the bar and I am setting up the bar and I'm making espresso, so I always put a drop of water in it because espresso is just too intense for me.
Right.
And I get older, so it's too intense. There were times when I didn't mind, but now I do. And also because you've got the crema on top, and by pouring hot water inside, you break the crema, and the crema are, most of it are oils, and oils tend to taste bitter. So if you break the crema, it's less bitter and it's more fruitier and easier for you to drink because it's not as intense. So it depends. With filter coffee, it depends on the brewing method. If you make intense, a lot of coffee, short time brewing, pressing like hell recipe, then dilute it. If you have a slow dripping brew, slower brewing method, dripping, then you don't need to dilute at all. It depends on the recipe.
That is a perfect.
And you were very correct with James Hoffman. He's got three different videos, and one of them is even half an hour long about AeroPress. With AeroPress, you can play around it at home, and it's fun. And feel free to experiment with different recipes and changing different variables. Always change one, then you don't get confused. But with AeroPress, it's proof that you really understand coffee and what is going on, because you need to know what is happening if I use more or less coffee or different temperature, or this recipe, the Vandalin's recipe is supposed to be brewed with soft water. So you really prove people that coffee if you make great AeroPress.
If you nail it, that's so good. By the way, we have a couple of minutes left, so chat if you have any question to ask Petra, because I love where this is going, like all of these little tips about the sourness, about the type of coffee. Radek, do you have a question?
I like these tips as well, especially about the strong ones, because we still have 8 more hours to go with this conference. So listen up, people, because we really need something strong.
We need to kind of go through, right? And I love that also in the chat, we were opening up a little bit, right? And I'm Italian, and I can 100% say that I drink cappuccino every time that I can, even past lunchtime. I literally have cappuccino probably 3 times a day at least, because I just love it, right? So there is nothing wrong with it necessarily. But maybe let's, you were mentioning the origami brewing technique before, right, Petra? Can you tell us maybe a little bit more about that? What is the origami technique?
So yesterday you brewed some coffee with Ondra that was V60, wasn't it?
I think we were talking about,
yeah, it's very similar. It's got, it's a V60 shape. It's a ceramic one, and the paper filters are a bit thinner, and it has like a little waves, so the airflow is better than with V60 in my opinion. So you get better extraction. So that's why I like it. And you said you were Italian, so I went to Rome, and I took my AeroPress with me. So it's good to know that you can travel with AeroPress easily, because I bought myself a slim grinder and I put it inside. I went to Rome with my AeroPress because it was difficult to find a specialty coffee cafe there.
It is true. It is true.
But the culture is amazing. But it just reminded me that I went to Rome with my AeroPress in my backpack.
We got actually somebody yesterday tweeting about, they also have a grinder that fits literally into the AeroPress, which is really nice.
I've got it at home. Yeah.
And I have to say, one of the things that I really, really love about the AeroPress is that it cleans itself when you actually press it through, because the gasket literally pushes out, and it's so easy to use, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Once you finish it, you just unscrew the lid and just pop it out, and it's easy to use. Yeah. And then there is a new thing. It's called AeroPress Go. It's a bit smaller AeroPress and with a cup in the pack, so you can get that one as well. And it's an interesting story to know. I don't know if you know, but the guy behind AeroPress is called Alan Adler. I don't know if you know him, but he's a president of a company that produces Aerobees, and those are the flying rings.
Yeah. They produce plastic toys.
Yeah, exactly. The sporting, goods or the equipment. And he came with the AeroPress in 2004 because there was nothing, in his opinion, there was nothing good enough to play around with brewing and stuff. And since then, he's been famous for that. And there is a movie. It's made by Czech guys from European Coffee Trip. It's on YouTube as well.
Oh yeah, they are
and
awesome
it's an Aeropress
too.
movie. Yeah. So they went to visit him and made a whole movie about it. So it's nice.
We should make the DevConf branded Aeropress for next year, Radek. What do you think?
I think you should do that.
How awesome would that be,
Sounds
right?
like perfect, right? I love it.
So what's your favorite brewing method? So it's the espresso cappuccino. You can have up to 2-3 cups a day. So well done.
So I have to say, this is a confession that I make. I never drank coffee when I was living in Italy. I'm out for like 10 years now because my parents used the mocha pot, the metal one.
I know that one. It's very popular.
But they didn't. Most people don't clean it properly, so they taste always very bitter.
Yeah.
But I have to say
that also aluminium, which is not super healthy, so you need to buy like a steel one or something.
The steam one, yeah. But I have to say that since lockdown started, I treated myself to an espresso machine, like with a portafilter machine. That's why, because I love cappuccino, right? So I want milk-based drinks all the time.
Yeah.
And I got like a Lelite machine and a good grinder. So that's my daily happiness.
When you mentioned the machine, we should also mention, I was just about to ask you what water you use for your machine, because water is about 99% of your coffee beverage. So the water needs to be good as well. So in all our coffee shops, we've got filtration systems, reverse osmosis, or at home or in smaller cafes, we use cartridges, filter cartridges like Brita.
The Brita, yeah.
Yeah, and for your home, I do understand that not everyone wants to have a filter cartridge at home, but you can buy yourself that water filtering kettle.
That is a great tip actually for everybody in chat. I know that we are on time and the keynote is about to start. So people, thank you so much, Petra. This has been wonderful. You've been fantastic. Thank you, Radek, for being with us for this time. We have a
keynote, Damiano. It's regular sessions that are starting now. Keynote is still at 2 p.m. So
sorry. You're right. And it's happening here, right?
Are we out of time now?
Much later.
Perfect.
That went so quick. Thank you guys, and thank you for paying attention.
This
and
was
bringing some coffee with
Thanks
me.
a lot.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. I did, certainly.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.